ladies. I am so excited to have the three of you. I have Laura, I have Holly, and I have Hannah. Yay, ladies. Thank you for being here today.
For having us.
Mhm. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go down the line from the top to the bottom, not in any particular order, but just because Laura is at the top of my screen. So, Laura, where are you from, originally from, and where are you living?
So originally I'm from the Bay Area, and right now I'm living at home in Hayward.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And Miss Holly, same for you.
So I used to live in Sacramento, but I am living in Beaumont for 7 years now.
Okay, very good. Excellent. And Miss Hannah, same question to you.
I originally grew up in Santa Clarita, California, and right now I'm currently in Loma Linda.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful. Ladies, excellent. All California girls, too. Nice. Going back to Laura. Laura, tell us about your Instagram niche that you've chosen for your project this quarter.
So for the Instagram project that we were doing, I wanted to reach out to Mexican Americans, and I wanted to share some ideas on how to make Mexican food vegan, because there are some people who are becoming more interested in going vegan, but a lot of times they don't want to give up their favorite foods that they grew up eating within their culture. So I wanted to find ways that they can address that problem.
Excellent. So, what is your Instagram handle?
Oh, it's called Al Estilo Vegan. So that means like making food the vegan style in Spanish.
So cool. So cool. I love that. Okay, thank you. And Holly, what is your niche in the Instagram project that you're featuring?
Mine is basically gardening, and I wanted to do nutrition education through gardening. Um, Recently, it's become a new hobby of mine,
I love it.
and my handle is Cultivate Your Nutrition.
Ah, fabulous, fabulous. Thank you. And Hannah, what about your Instagram project?
So I aimed my Instagram at recreational athletes. I was a collegiate athlete, now turned just like an active person. And there's a lot of nutrition information out there on supplements and just a lot of false information. And I wanted to kind of create a space to help combat that and educate people who are active, but not necessarily at the competitive or elite level, give them some tips and information for fueling.
Excellent. I love how each of your projects, each of you took it at a different place and space. And it's so neat because that's representative of the diversity of nutrition and the different directions that we can take. So I love it that all of yours are different from each other's. Very cool. But I'm so excited to also, in addition to talking about what we just talked about, to be talking about your particular topic. Oh, this is so good. And the title of today's episode is Food Insecurity on Loma Linda University campus. So, ladies, I just love that you're going to share about your research project that the three of you have been really working hard on. So please tell us about your research project.
Yeah, so we sent out a survey to Loma Linda University students because we wanted to look at the prevalence of food insecurity on the LLU campus. And we wanted to find out if students are aware of food resources that are available to those who may be experiencing food insecurity. And so it was important for us to look at food insecurity among LLU students because Loma Linda University promotes the idea of wholeness, and that also includes adequate nutrition. And so we thought it was important that each student has enough nutritious food so that they can have good academic and health outcomes in order to better serve others as future healthcare professionals. So in order to help others, we need to make sure that we ourselves are healthy and able to do that.
Ooh, so important. I am so glad that you ladies are looking at a very important root cause of what can make or break a person and especially students. So, you know, that term food insecurity, some people might be like, what? What is that? Some people have heard about that and some people haven't. So, what is food insecurity?
Well, by definition of the USDA, they define food insecurity as the lack of consistent access to nutritionally adequate and safe food to support a healthy, active lifestyle, or the inability to acquire those foods in a socially acceptable manner. In other words, food insecurity is different from being hungry. It's the lack of having consistent access to a variety of foods that are nourishing. And the USDA actually classifies food insecurity into two categories. So, food secure individuals are high food security and marginal food security. And food insecurity are individuals who have low food security and very low food security.
Okay. That was amazing. You explained that so very well. Thank you. And it is important to realize that that does exist even in our backyard. So then, who is affected by food insecurity in the US?
So, over the past decade, the United States has studied food insecurity fairly extensively. So, at least at the household level. So, in 2011, the United States kind of peaked in their food insecurity rate with 14.9% of households being considered food insecure. And then they redo their study every couple of years. And so the last one that they did was in 2018, where 11% of households were considered to be food insecure. So that's good because the rate is on the decline. And these studies found that houses with children, single parent households, populations living in rural areas, and families below the poverty line tended to be affected most. Within the past couple of years, though, research has started to look at a new population for food insecurity, and that's undergraduate college students. So these studies that have been coming out, the USDA actually did a review of a lot of them, found that 41% of undergraduate students across the United States are considered food insecure.
That's such a high
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, it's a really big number. And it was really shocking to us also that there aren't a lot of amenities available to these students. In the review, the USDA found that throughout the United States, there's 5,300 colleges that offer undergraduate degrees, but only 12% of those have food banks or amenities available for students who might be suffering.
Oh, okay. Whoa. But then, okay, having said that, why does food insecurity affect college students?
So studies have shown that students who suffer from food insecurity tend to have lower GPAs, poor mental and physical outcomes, poor sleep quality and quantity, as well as higher BMIs compared to their food secure peers. The higher BMI was kind of surprising to us because when you think of food insecurity, you tend to think, oh, they're just not eating enough. However, this is a really common outcome for students and just in general, people who suffer from food insecurity. And it's actually become known as the food insecurity obesity paradox.
Ah, okay. Can you please explain more about that? The food insecurity obesity paradox.
You can take that one.
Okay.
According to a physiology behavior study, the food insecurity obesity paradox is related by two hypotheses. So, low food security is associated with obesity because of the high calorie, palatable food consumed by a low food secure populations. And the second thesis or hypothesis is low food security is associated with obesity because of the limited knowledge, time, and also resources that low food secure populations experience to engage in a healthful eating and exercise pattern.
Okay. Okay, that's very helpful to understand that a bit more. So, tell us why you wanted to do a study specifically on food insecurity at Loma Linda University.
So when we were conducting our literature review, we found that there were a lot of studies on food insecurity among undergraduate students, but we didn't see a lot of studies on post-bachelor's degree students.
Okay.
And we also saw that there was a lack of food insecurity studies that were conducted on private universities. And so we thought that Loma Linda University would be a perfect candidate to conduct our study because it's a private university that consists of mostly graduate and doctoral students. So we thought this is how we could fill those gaps in the literature. And another gap that we found was that there was a lack of awareness for college students who are experiencing food insecurity. They didn't know where to get additional food resources, or they didn't know if their school was offering those resources to them. And so we wanted to see if that was also true for LLU students.
Okay. All right. So then, how did you gather data to conduct your study on the food insecurity at Loma Linda? What were the things that you did to collect the data?
So we developed and distributed an anonymous survey to all 8 of the schools at the university via email. And the survey consisted of 3 different parts. So the first part, we looked at the demographics of the group. So we asked participants to answer questions about their gender, race, weight, height. We calculated their BMI, but we also asked questions about how far they lived from campus, what their income was, if they lived with family, and also their highest level of education.
Mm-hmm.
The second portion of our survey was actually a USDA survey. It's called the U.S. Household Food Security 6-item short form. So this just asks participants 6 questions to evaluate their eating patterns over the course of the past year. So this became a little bit tricky once COVID hit because we started collecting data in July. And by that point, we had already been 6 months into coronavirus. So we asked our participants to think about their eating patterns before the virus, just to get a better idea of the prevalence of food insecurity on Loma Linda's campus under normal conditions.
Oh, correct.
Yeah. So based on the responses from each participant, we scored the survey and placed them into 3 separate categories defining their level of food security. So we had high food security, low food security, and very low food security. Yeah. And then the third section of our survey was a qualitative portion where we asked students who were categorized as having low or very low food security some open-ended questions about their experience. Okay. So some of those questions involved their awareness of the amenities available to them on campus, if there were any amenities they'd like to see added that they might find helpful, if they felt that their source of income was sufficient enough to provide for their needs, and if not, how were they getting their needs met? Just some questions like that. And for our results, we really wanted to look at the prevalence of low and very low food insecure groups on campus just to get a better idea for the university, if it even was a problem. And we compared that to the national average, which again was 41%. And then we also wanted to see if there were any associations between the demographic information and the USDA survey score classifications to see if there were any specific groups that might be disproportionately affected, or if food insecurity was indeed having these negative outcomes that we've seen in other studies.
Okay, very good. So I believe by now you ladies have already had your data already analyzed, right? Woo! Look at that. Ladies are ahead of the game. I think you're the first group that already has their data analyzed. Way to go. So, would you be willing to share your results with us? And if so, yeah, could you please tell us about it?
Yeah. So, as of right now, we're still in the process of finalizing our results. But what I can tell you is that we do have statistically significant results. And so we received 239 responses, and of those who responded to the USDA Food Insecurity Survey portion, we found that 61% of participants had high food security. So that's a good thing. But we also found that 17% had low food security, while 22% had very low food security. So in total, it was about 39% who are experiencing low food security. So that means that they're experiencing some degree of food insecurity.
Yeah.
And so the results are significant because it shows us that food insecurity does exist among graduate students and not just undergraduate students. And Loma Linda University students who are food insecure may also be experiencing negative outcomes, and they may require additional food resources that can potentially be offered by the school.
Right. Okay. Oh, wow. Ladies, I mean, knowing that it also exists on our campus,
Mm-hmm.
that's heartbreaking,
It is.
you know? Uh, so then what can potentially, sorry, be done so that this can be resolved, food insecurity at LOU, or so that it can at least go down? What help can potentially be done?
So, upon evaluation of our qualitative responses,
Okay.
the student responses, we asked the question, what are the sources of financial support that help supplement what you have? That's what we asked in our survey. And most of the students reported they receive financial support from either family, friends, and even financial aid. So financial aid can encompass in the form of Pell Grant, Grad Plus loans, food stamps, and even credit cards.
Mm.
And a second question that we asked them is, do you know where to get low or reduced cost foods? And students reported getting food from food pantries, church, food banks, and even shopping at designated discount grocery stores such as Aldi, 99-cent store, Dollar Tree, Grocery Outlet, Winco, and Walmart. And then finally, preliminary results show that students would like to see the college campus offer cafeteria meal vouchers or a cafeteria meal plan of some sort and a food bank on campus. So this leads us to suggest like future studies for improvement in this area. So we were thinking of longitudinal study designs or even an implementation of a cafeteria meal plan option and a follow-up observational study to evaluate any improvements on that.
Yes, that would be excellent for that to continue on for sure. And I think it would be neat also. I'm just thinking as you were sharing all that, it is nice to have if there were more resources around, but that if we can educate the people who donate to these food pantries, because some of the food pantries, I mean, I don't want to put them down, that's not the purpose of that, but some of the food that is donated, and bless the hearts of the people who donated, but it's not nutritionally
Mm-hmm.
packed or dense either.
That's
So,
so true.
yeah,
Yeah.
if we can also do some webinars for them too, for those who donate, that would be great. And it would help them in their own health and then what they would choose to buy for the students for these pantries. So yeah, those are other areas that can be looked at as well too.
That's
So
a really good suggestion. Thank you.
yeah. Yes, no, you're welcome. It's yeah, we need to continue to help our students and future students that come behind you. I know
Mm-hmm.
you ladies are graduating this end of the school year, which is so exciting, and it's kind of around the corner.
Oh,
Two
it
more
came
quarters.
so fast.
I know. I remember when you first came on board, all three of you. And I can't believe this is going to be the last 2 quarters after this one. So, but all of you have grown in your knowledge. I have seen the growth in every single one of you. It has been so nice to see. I love your passion in helping other people, and that has come through in your study, one of the many ways. I know you show your love and compassion for people in other ways too. But thank you for sharing this, sharing your study with us. It's very helpful, very insightful. And I know that you ladies have the rest of this quarter, which is a few more weeks, to hang in there. So may God bless you on the rest of your journey here at Loma Linda. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.